camaraderie of Hayden Alley at 8, 7 Central. Then catch the delightful and desirable Designing Women at 8:30, 7:30 Central. You'll always get a warm and friendly welcome at Newhart.
Shut up and sign in.
At 9, 8 Central. Injured Funny Bones, see the law firm of Eisenhower & Lutz at 9:30, 8:30 Central. And 2 cops in 1 talk town. Cagney and Lacey at 10, 9 Central. Mondays.
Brooke Logan wants what she may never have. Ridge Forrester.
She's after him for all the wrong reasons.
But when love is forbidden, you always want more. Weekdays. 3 available women. 1 unsuspecting man.
Have him bathed and brought to my room.
Every woman's dream. Imagine the possibilities.
You're suggesting we share.
Imagine the surprises. Imagine what happens when someone decides to stop. Sharing Richard, Tuesday.
It's one of sport's most grueling events, the spectacular Paris-Roubaix bicycle race. Plus, Tyrone Trice takes on Simon Brown this weekend on CBS Sports Saturdays.
This is CBS.
Up next on the 10 p.m. report, Minneapolis police cracked down on alleged clients of gay prostitution.
New concern for the health of grain bin workers.
An annual event at Honeywell.
In to mention how foreigners own nearly a third of the Minneapolis skyline.
And a visit to what used to be a military school in Minnesota. I'm Pat Lyle.
I'm Don Shelby. The 10 p.m. report is next.
People come from all over the world to amuse themselves in our gardens. But if my lawns and gardens aren't perfect, I am not amused. That's why my entire staff of 45 gardeners regularly uses Green Sweep lawn food and weed and feed. Just hook up a hose and spray. The results keep me smiling. And when you work with the characters I do, it's important to fit in.
Green Sweep, the official lawn and garden products of Disneyland.
From the mountainous Abruzzi region of central Italy comes the inspiration for a hearty beef and pork pasta sauce called Classico d'Abruzzi. And because in Italy pasta sauces differ from region to region, from Naples there's a robust tomato and basil Classico di Napoli. And from Sicily, a zesty ripe olive and mushroom Classico di Sicilia. The regional tastes of Italy brought to America. Classico, authentic regional pasta sauces.
Potato chips in the windmill pack. That old Dutch taste keeps you coming back. Potato chips that taste so fresh. You know some say they're just the best. That old Dutch taste keeps them coming back to potato chips in the windmill pack. That old Dutch taste keeps you coming back to potato chips in the windmill pack.
Opening day 2:30.
They are called Gay Johns, and tonight the Minneapolis Police Department is out to get them off the street.
WCCO Television presents Pat Miles, Don Shelby, Mike Fairborn, and Mark Rosen. This is the 10 p.m. report.
Good evening, everyone. Prostitution is at the top of the list for law enforcement this time of year as temperatures increase, drawing more people to the streets.
Usually the targets are female prostitutes and male johns, but tonight it is a different story.
Cindy Hilger is here to explain tonight the sweep by the Minneapolis Police Department.
Don and Pat, this is the first time this year the Vice Squad has gone after so-called gay johns in Loring Park. Police say in the past few months they have gotten many complaints from people who live in the area that the prostitution activity has increased. So tonight police put one man and one woman posing as male prostitutes in Loring Park. They put wireless microphones on them and watched from an unmarked vehicle as men looking to buy sex approached the so-called decoys. Now, we left the scene just about 20 minutes ago, and so far police have made about 2 arrests. They plan to stay out there for several more hours. Police say they will continue these sweeps until they feel like they've cut down on the number of men who go to Loring Park to buy or sell sex.
Over the last year, as the weather gets warmer, the problem gets worse. And if we don't start dealing with it right now, when it's still cool outside, we won't be able to control it at all by the summer.
Now, police are hoping to arrest several dozen people tonight. We'll have more on this story tomorrow when we'll know exactly how successful this sweep was. And one interesting thing that the Vice Squad told me this evening is that police now believe there are as many male prostitutes in the city as female. And so that's one of the main reasons for tonight's sweep.
Did they have any idea about the average age of the prostitutes working the streets? We've heard reports about the females and the average age being anywhere from 16 to 18. Any similar reports on
I'd
men?
say it's very similar. Most of these men are in their teens, probably mid-teens. They tell stories, though, of some literally 12, 13-year-old, 14-year-old boys that are on the streets. And it's just so hard to tell when you're out there how old these kids are. But they're definitely, as police say, they're minors. They're 16, 17.
And will they continue the crackdown?
Yes, they plan to be out there throughout the spring and summer.
Is this kind of an annual thing, Cindy, or they haven't done it for a while?
It's been a while. They did it about last year at this time, and they made, they say, about 36 to 40 arrests on any given evening. But this is the first time so far this year.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy.
A criminal investigation is underway tonight into alleged misappropriation of nearly $200,000 at the University of Minnesota. An internal university audit released today shows the money disappeared from the Office of Minority and Special Student Affairs during the 8 years Luther Darville ran that office. The university's information has been turned over now to University Police and the Hennepin County Attorney's Office. According to the audit, most of the missing money came from cash payments summer school students made directly to Darville to pay for housing. The rest of the money came from the Minority and Special Student Emergency Loan Account. Darville says he was being reimbursed for consulting duties, and he also says he divided some of the money among needy minority students, including 9 former university football players. The NCAA and the Big Ten are investigating possible rules infractions.
My understanding that no one had any knowledge of this of this having transpired. Coaches or administrators or anyone. It was in Mr. Darville's hands exclusively.
Darville has been suspended from his duties pending the investigation, and authorities also suspect Darville used some of the money himself. He could not be reached for comment today.
Honeywell held its annual meeting today, and peace protesters held their annual protest of the annual meeting. Before it was over, some 54 of them were either arrested or ticketed. Some demonstrators tried to refuse police offers of a bus ride to the booking office. While peace groups continue to demand the company halt its defense contracting, company officials insist that only a small portion of their business is directly related to the military. With today's activity, peace groups have now logged their 1,800th Honeywell arrest in 20 years. And with that, it was over. Some potentially dangerous chemicals went up in smoke in Anoka this morning. The chemical was hydrocyanic acid, which was found leaking from barrels last Friday. They came from a warehouse at 29th and Harriet in Minneapolis, and city officials say they will apply for an emergency order from the Attorney General's office to get some money to clean up that site.
St. Paul officials are taking steps to clean up the Lilydale Regional Park along the Mississippi River. Along with lots of trash are also barrels of unknown liquid. Today, it was agreed that the Pollution Control Agency will haul the barrels away and then analyze what's inside. And St. Paul police say they will station undercover officers in that park to catch people who dump there illegally. Minnesota grain workers may be exposing themselves to long-term health risks because of contact with some pesticides. Those are the preliminary findings of a 2-year study by the University of Minnesota. Health and Science reporter Tony Vigneri explains.
People who work in grain bins use the chemical phostoxin to kill bugs and insects. University researchers took these photos during the study and found many workers were not wearing the proper safety equipment, and that increased their risk of inhaling harmful gases.
A number of the applicators are not wearing the safety equipment that's appropriate for phostoxin.
The chemical phostoxin has been in use for 20 years. It comes in the form of pellets, but the concern now is that the pellets are dissolving quicker than they should and releasing phosphine gas in the air while workers are still in the grain building.
As our project's been going along, we've been picking up hints that maybe there is. Okay.
There is
something going on
with their health.
With their health long term.
While the major risk is for the workers, Dr. Gary says it really can affect anyone who comes in close contact with a recently fumigated grain bin.
There would be a risk for children or pets that were playing around in and among fumigated grain. Yes, there would be a risk.
It's expected to take 6 months to determine what effect this chemical can have on the body. In the meantime, researchers say workers should wear this type of self-contained breathing mask that can filter out dangerous gases. Tony Vignari, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
The university studied 24 grain workers in that 2-year study.
29-year-old Lawrence Johnson of Minneapolis stands charged tonight with first-degree murder for allegedly killing his mildly retarded brother-in-law. Police say Johnson believed his 2-year-old son had been sexually abused by that brother-in-law. The case will go to the grand jury next month to determine if the murder charge should stand. Bail for Johnson was set at $500,000.
The Federal Communications Commission staged a dial-a-porn crackdown with a $1.2 million fine on 2 companies for not doing anything to keep children from hearing sexually explicit recorded messages. It's the first time the FCC levied fines under a 1983 law governing dial-a-porn. A bizarre and bloody hostage drama is finally over in Las Mosas, Mexico, but the culprits are still at large tonight. 7 gunmen who had taken over a bank agreed to swap 42 hostages in exchange for 2 Red Cross workers. The men made a getaway in a van provided by police. The Red Cross workers were later freed. Hostages who survived the Kuwaiti jetliner hijacking returned home to a warm welcome in Kuwait. Meantime, there is suspicion the hijackers have escaped to Beirut. And 13 American ships are heading toward the Persian Gulf over the next week, and about the same number will leave those waters as part of a routine rotation. Also, Senator Al Gore put the brakes on his presidential campaign today. The Tennessee Democrat was just 39 years old when he entered the race. He told supporters today, quote, "I was doing great until I turned 40.
Here's a way to see everything there is to see in the Twin Cities for just $1.50. Just climb to the 32nd floor of the Fauché Tower and hit the observation deck. It's open to the public for the 5th straight year, offering a spectacular view of the downtowns, and on a clear day, far beyond that. The tower is open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays through October. You might want to try going 1 floor beyond the observation deck, but that's another story.
Nissan hard-body trucks are put together the way truck people want a truck put together. And now Nissan has put something else together, hard-body trucks and cash. For a limited time, you can get $500 cash back from Nissan on the standard hardbody, which makes it one of the lowest-priced trucks in America. So if you're looking for a great truck, now's the time to get yourself a hardbody and a fistful of dollars.
See your nearest Nissan dealer now for cash back.
Back when hot was cool, and cool was neat, and neat was crazy, and crazy was the most, the Dove Bar was all of the above. Introducing the 1956 Dove Bar, born in a candy store. Really rich ice cream, hand-dipped in really thick chocolate. Original and the new smaller size. Now available at a freezer near you. Dove Bar, still the greatest.
With a bank, you have your choice of checking or savings. With a relationship at First Banks, you have your choice of checking, savings, mutual funds, tax-deferred annuities, government securities, the services of a complete discount brokerage, and someone to help you make the right choices. Why settle for a bank when you can have a banking relationship?
Come drive the Mazda MX-6DX. It has 17 cubic feet more passenger room than Honda Prelude S, gets to 60 faster, and has electronic fuel injection standard, yet is stickered $2,700 less. MX-6DX. Now that's value.
Come drive a Mazda.
See your Mazda dealer in Richfield, Brooklyn Center, White Bear, St. Paul, and Minnetonka.
Tonight in Dimension, a look inside what used to be a private military school in Minnesota, one which has undergone some changes.
But first tonight, just who does own downtown Minneapolis?
Well, here's a fact to consider. First of all, Minneapolis is now third in the nation when it comes to the number of buildings owned by foreign investors or corporations. According to the New York Times, Los Angeles and New York are the only U.S. cities with more foreign-owned property than Minneapolis. But the recent New York Times article is not alone in reporting the trend. A look at other headlines indicates it is a weak U.S. dollar attracting foreigners to U.S. real estate. Business reporter Alan Cox reports on the changing face of ownership.
The rising sun shines from the horizon of the Twin Cities. Last week, when Governor Perpich announced a Japanese language school for the Iron Range, he did it at River Place, the state's largest Japanese-owned development. Tokyo-based Kojima boosted its stakes in Minneapolis to more than $130 million last fall when it bought out other River Place investors. The owner expects more Japanese to follow its trail to the Twin Cities.
Because of the assets, the strong features you have here, the Japanese companies are seriously looking at Minneapolis, St. Paul as their next target for investment, and I strongly recommend it.
They are investors some officials welcome.
The Japanese have a much longer investment strategy than we do. The tendency of American companies is to want to get a return out of a project much quicker.
With the yen at a record high against the dollar, wealthy Japanese are looking across the Pacific to the United States. More than $10 billion in Japanese investment expected this year alone. But foreign investment is nothing new to the Twin Cities. Canadian properties have long dominated the skyline. 30% of downtown Minneapolis is foreign-owned. The IDS Tower belongs to the Canadian telephone utility BCE. So does City Center. River Place and its residential high-rises are Japanese. A European investor, an Austrian national, has 4 rehabbed warehouses. Robert Dayton recently sold his conservatory to Canadian interests. Canadians own the North Star Center. A British pension fund has 4 office towers on the Baker Block. The Twin City Federal Tower is Northern European. Boosters are quick to argue that foreign investors are good for downtown.
If somebody builds a great house next door to you, and it improves your property value, you don't go over and ask him for his green card. You stick out your hand and you say thank you, which is basically what we should be doing because we have people who are putting money into our economy.
As the argument goes, foreign real estate dollars create a stronger local economy, better insulated from domestic economic swings. With Pat Weiland, Alan Cox, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
But of course, the critics argue too much foreign investment in U.S. properties will send immeasurable profits to other countries. Profits, they say, better spent in the United States.
Now, next in Dimension, we go beyond a ribbon-cutting ceremony held today in Minnesota. CBS sports commentator Brent Musburger did the honors, leading the dedication ceremony of a new tartan track on the campus of Shattuck St. Mary's School. Musburger graduated from the institution in 1957 when it was still a private military school, still located in Faribault, Minnesota. The military aspect at the prep school is gone. Students no longer take part in daily military drills and exercises. In 1972, though, Shattuck, an all-boys school, merged with St. Mary's, and now it is co-ed. While boarding schools are plentiful on the East Coast, Shattuck St. Mary's is the largest and one of the only such schools in Minnesota. Students from grade 7 through 12 attend classes there. Today, Mike Strand went inside the 130-year-old institution.
It's like a corner of New England in outstate Minnesota, a tiny community unto itself whose mission for more than a century was making men out of boys. Today, the trappings and tenets of Shattuck's military history exist merely as a foundation upon which students and faculty have altered the one-time code of duty, honor, and country to read, listen, question, and dream.
There's always the opportunity to reach for something further. You don't have your just basic requirements as you're always encouraged to go further.
Classes are small, usually no more than a dozen students, which for some has made the difference between getting by and getting ahead.
It's been a really special place. It's given me a reason to work. For once, I've actually cared about my grades.
I like classes a lot. It's much smaller and I can learn. And I get asked if I have any questions anytime.
At its height, Shattuck's student body numbered more than 400. Today, only 150 attend classes, deliberately downsized as the school nurtures a more academic image. Shattuck's Polish-born, British-bred headmaster feels the school better addresses today's student needs.
Given that they're going to work together afterwards far more than was even the case when I went to school. I went to boys' school. And
25 years ago, there were still these separations, which are breaking down now. So I think we're far more in tune with the times than we would be if we were a military school, it seems to me.
Yet tradition dies hard. All students must still attend weekly ecumenical services in the Episcopal Chapel.
A common thread running through the remarks of students and alumni of Shattuck is that although their private education was more strict and pressured than in public schools, they feel that it allowed them to find themselves more quickly, and that the change from military to co-ed has been for the better.
They're ready to go on from here. Back in our day, I think there was quite a transition out into the public. That doesn't exist so much anymore.
A tapestry of history seems to line the wood-stained corridors, while the theater echoes with the voice of Marlon Brando, who began his career here but was later expelled. A better student than Brando, CBS sportscaster Brent Musburger says Shattuck is where his career took shape.
When you develop your own friendships and your own rhythm and you're out on your own, and I think it helped me tremendously. I don't think that I would be where I am today without having gone to Shattuck.
Testimonials like that is what Shattuck officials hope keeps their new traditions alive for decades to come. With Gordon Leach, I'm Mike Strand, WCCO Television News, Faribault.
The majority of students at Shattuck St. Mary's are from states in the Midwest, but the school does draw from as far away as Mexico, South America, even China. If you're wondering about the cost, well, it's just about $12,000 a year.
Once a year it happens, and right now it's happening. It's motorhome sale time at Spickler's. Factory cashbacks, volume rebates, cash allowances. Spickler's have done it again. You can now honestly buy a motorhome for $4,000 to $7,000 under dealer replacement cost. For 88 sale over stocks and a few factory clear out 87, the savings are phenomenal. Hurry while selection is best. Spickler's, Wisconsin, Minnesota's largest motorhome dealer. See why. Save now.
Patient car buyers everywhere. Symptoms? Beaten senseless by new cars averaging over $13,000 and used cars averaging about $6,000. Treatment? Rush them to their Hyundai dealer during Come to Your Senses days. Revive them with a full range of XL models under $7,000, starting as low as $5,650. Prognosis? There's never been a better time to buy a car that makes sense.
Test drive the durable Hyundai XL at Midway Hyundai and Brooklyn Park Hyundai.
Come celebrate a very special birthday with very special savings at Snyder's, the Old Corner Drugstore for today. Save $2 on Polaroid T120 VHS videotape. After mail-in rebate, just $2.49. Save over $1.50 on the entire line of Revlon lipstick in assorted shades, just $2.99 each. Save 70 cents on the 3-pack of Planters microwave popcorn in natural or butter flavored, only $1.59. Snyder's, now 60 years strong and still the Old Corner Drugstore for today.
Renko delivers in the clutch.
I want you to push
She wishes to name our baby girl after you.
Henry turns on Perillo.
Why don't you stop caring about the lives of that Judah? This precinct doesn't run the way you want it to. Why don't you find one that does?
And Russo turns on the vending machine.
You're good loving. At least you died happy.
On Hill Street Blues.
Twin Cities comes back to the hill tonight on Channel 4.
Spring officially began 1 month ago today, but you might not know it by looking at these pictures from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Wet, slushy snow blanketed a large area from Sioux Falls to Worthington to near Rochester. Some places got about 4 inches. We are happy to report it started to melt around noontime. Why does this always come as a surprise when it always comes every year?
Always does in April. Well, last year I think we got spoiled, so our memories have kind of faded a little bit.
How about 83?
Back in 83, on the 14th of April, we had over 13 inches of snow, and in 84, on the 29th and 30th, we had over 9 inches.
That can throw you into a slump of sorts, huh?
It really can. We're still looking at the possibility of some snow here before this is all over with. The main storm is still far out to the west and the southwest, but it is moving in our direction. Right now in the Twin Cities, our weather guide, we hit 53 degrees for a high temperature today, 30 for an overnight low, and some precipitation did graze the Twin Cities, but nothing fell at the airport, so 0. Sunrise in the morning at 6:17 will set tomorrow night at 8:07. Satellite picture shows a couple of things. First of all, it shows the clouds still out to the west, but that storm is really wrapping up now, starting to move out into the Central Plains. As it has done that, it's triggered a pretty good thunderstorm now that's beginning to move up into extreme southwestern South Dakota, and a couple of tornadoes touched down in the Colorado area earlier this evening. So it's a pretty potent weather system out there, and it's going to spread a whole variety of weather all across us, is the way it looks right now. Our high temperatures today, well, they were generally in the 50s and 60s to the south of us. And we had that little band of 50s right through the central part of the state, which included us, but kind of a hodgepodge pattern. We've got little pockets of cold air, then little layers of colder and warmer air going from south to north, and we just happened to land in the 50s, but there were 40s to the south, and it was down there where the 40s were, where the snow fell. The morning snowfall, we saw on that tape, as much as 4 and 3 inches of snow down in the southwestern corner of the state, lesser amounts out through parts of the Dakotas, but Sioux Falls, South Dakota, ended up with over 3.5 inches of snow in most places. Our radar shows the thunderstorm activity in Colorado right now. This is going to continue to spread moisture up toward us, so we've already had the clouds. The clouds have continued to thicken up. We could even have some shower activity here in the Twin Cities by sometime early tomorrow morning. And this is the reason why, that low pressure area. Showers and thunderstorms out ahead of it, becoming mixed with showers of rain and snow back on the north side of this front. And as it hooks up toward us, we're probably going to get a whole variety of weather, changing over to snow probably tomorrow night with some accumulation likely by Saturday morning, and then changing back to rain as everything melts off. Don, you haven't put your snow shovel away yet, have you?
No, sir.
High temperatures for tomorrow, barely up into the upper 40s over the southern part of the state. 40s covering all the rest of the upper Midwest. It's going to be a cool day, and it looks like Saturday's going to be a little bit on the raw side as well. Mostly cloudy right now, 48 degrees. The air is calm, 29% humidity, a dew point of 17. The barometer's on the rise. Tonight, then, mostly cloudy, 37 degrees, southeast winds at 10 to 15, maybe some showers developing by morning, so look for the showers. High temperature of 46 tomorrow with northeast winds. Tomorrow night, cloudy, windy, rain, sleet, and snow showers, a low of 35 degrees, and a raw day on Saturday with rain showers and snow showers likely, a high of 45. It'll clear up the rest of the week. Tuesday looks like the best day out of the next 5 with 55 degrees reported, but we'll just have to keep an eye on it over the weekend, Don.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Tonight, a Fridley boy needs our help. Police in Fridley are looking for a jogger and his dog. Shortly before 10 o'clock this morning, near the intersection of Mississippi and Oakley Streets, the jogger, with his dog on a leash, passed a 5-year-old boy riding on his bicycle. Now, according to the police, the dog bit the boy. The jogger, apparently not knowing what happened, went on. Unless the dog's owner comes forward in the next 7 days, the kid will have to undergo a painful treatment against rabies. Police stress no charges will be involved. Anyone with information, the person who owns the dog or anyone who knows a jogger who runs with a dog in that area is asked to call the Fridley police.
It will be a big weekend for professional football and college players hoping to be drafted.
And a preview of this year's draft with Mark Rosen and sports coming up next.
Chevy S10 invites you to own the street with the biggest engine ever offered in a compact pickup. The most V6 power and torque available in a compact truck. And a price to make your heart beat faster than ever.
The heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevy truck.
Right? No, that's the left I want. I know.
Steering on this car.
A little closer. A little closer.
The fabric that these guys are laying down comes from Phillips 66. They say it'll make this road last longer and make it safer. So if Phillips 66 puts that much into a road, think how much they put into their gasolines.
It's happening now. The biggest garage sale to ever hit Minnesota. Spring chickens are on the way, and we're cleaning house at Coon Rapids Chrysler Plymouth. Get LeBaron Coupes for just $99.95. Or choose from 50 Voyager minivans with automatic transmissions for as little as $10,995. We've even got used cars for $1,200. Hurry, because any not sold by the 30th will be offered at wholesale to other dealers. Don't miss the biggest garage sale ever held. Only at Coon Rapids Chrysler Plymouth.
Best Buy's 12-hour video sale. This Saturday only, we're opening an hour early and marking down the price of every video product in stock. Like this RCA remote-controlled color TV at our lowest price ever, just $177.99. And this cable-ready VCR with HQ circuitry on sale for just $158.99. Best Buy's 12-hour video sale. This Saturday only, every video product is on sale. Hurry, there's a lot to save, but not much time.
Well, at least the 1962 Mets were lovable. The 1988 Baltimore Orioles only awful. Today's loss, 7-1 at County Stadium, dropped them deeper into the recesses of the record books. At 0-15, the O's are off to the worst start in baseball history. They're already 12 games out in the American League East. Bill Schroeder homered for the Brewers today as they finished off a 3-game sweep. If Baltimore loses 3 more, they could come to town here next week with an 0-18 record. Milwaukee winning the final 7-1. Elsewhere, Boston easily over Detroit. The score there 12-3. First place, Oakland leading Chicago 3-1 in the 6th inning. California 2-0 over Seattle in the 4th. A cold night in Pittsburgh for the Pirates. St. Louis catcher Tony Pena warmed the chilly spring air for the Cardinals with a pair of solo home runs against a team that traded him a year ago. The last place Cards drilled the first place Bucks 9-3. Hey, there's Ray Miller in a familiar position. It's not that bad. Miller, of course, now the pitching coach for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Elsewhere, Cincinnati over San Francisco in 12. Montreal losing to Chicago 6-2. St. Louis beating Pittsburgh, as we saw. Houston 8-0 over Atlanta, never getting the shutout there. San Diego, Los Angeles rained out again in California. Well, there is always pressure to improve a team through the draft, but the Vikings will have to wait until the 19th choice unless they make a trade in an average college crop. 2 of their Central Division rivals select in the first 4 picks. What will Sunday's NFL draft reap? Well, let's see. Atlanta and linebacker Andre Bruce already have come to terms. He's top dog this year. Kansas City wants Neil Smith, defensive end from Nebraska. That is why they switched selections with Detroit today.
There are very few impact players in this draft or in any draft. And when you get an opportunity to get an impact player, you've got to go for it. And that's why we made the deal.
Meanwhile, will Detroit deal with Benny Blades? He's the safety the Vikings covet, but won't get unless there's a big trade. In Tampa, Testaverde needs someone to throw to. Maybe Tim Brown, Notre Dame's Heisman Trophy winner. Blue chippers are in short supply. From the 5th selection on, it's anybody's guess.
Sometimes you can get burned drafting for need instead of taking the best player on the board.
Picking 19th may be slim pickings for Jerry Burns and the Vikings. Will defensive backs Ricky Dixon and Chuck Cecil be around? Dixon, no. Cecil, yes. Danny Stubbs, however, could fit the bill. For top choice, the Vikings love defensive linemen. It's a position they've taken in half of the past dozen drafts. What are the other choices?
The odds seem to be in favor of them winding up with a player from Arizona State. There's 3 real good ones. You've got Randall McDaniel, who's a guard. You've got Aaron Cox, who's a wide receiver. And you've got a defensive lineman named Sean Patterson who can play tackle or end.
Scouting reports, testing, and computer readouts cost the Vikings $1 million a year, but they're not always foolproof.
You try to get a feel on them, and even then, once they've signed that big contract, or they're named a first-round draft pick, many times there's a change of heart right there.
Vikings general manager Mike Lynn said if the Vikings do trade up, it will be a blockbuster trade, but the odds are that won't happen because so many National Football League teams are reluctant to swap top draft choices at any price. There was no contest at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit tonight where the Red Wings blew away St. Louis 6-0. The Red Wings' Peter Klima has been red hot in the playoffs with 2 hat-tricks in 8 postseason games. This goal, his first of 3 tonight, was all the Wings needed as Greg Stefan threw a shutout. 6-0, the Red Wings lead that series 2-0. And elsewhere in the National Hockey League tonight, Edmonton and Calgary, 3-all in the second intermission. It was a great NBA game. Boston defeated Chicago at the Garden tonight. Bird had, I think, 43. Jordan has 39. And it could be a nice playoff preview of what to come. That hasn't even started yet.
And they're coming to town.
You bet.
Okay, good deal. An impact sportscaster. That's what you are. There's another sign of spring tonight. University of Minnesota's Campus Carnival is underway. The story when we come back.
In Norway, they live by one rule. When they wash the outside of a window, they wash it from the inside. Introducing the H-Window, the window of Norway, now made in Minnesota.
From the Northland Ford Quality Showcase, Looking for performance? Check out Ford. 87 Car of the Year intercooled Ford-injected Thunderbird Turbo Coupe. Aerodynamic Pioneer, high output 2.3 liters, touring suspension, Tempo GL Sport. GT version of the world's bestseller, Hemi Head 1.9 multi-port injected Escort GT. The legend, Ford injected V8, 5 liters, 225 horsepower Mustang GT. And you ain't seen nothing yet.
Hey, forget the Putin fiber. Feel good every morning with music and money on KS95.
It's the Sunny Money song. 20 grand every week.
20,000 weekly guaranteed, plus the Twin Cities' best music.
It's so easy. Listen at 7:20 every morning to win.
That means more winners more often.
And more music. The KS95 Sunny Money song.
20 grand a week in cash.
Your minimum daily requirement of music and money on KS95.
One of the surest signs of spring is blossoming at the University of Minnesota tonight.
More than a dozen elaborate stages have come to life all of a sudden, and Campus Carney is off and running. Perhaps often dancing would be more appropriate. Take a look at the famous ballyhoo dances put on by the sorority houses, are proving to be a popular attraction again this year, as are the skits put on by their Greek brothers from the fraternities across the row. There are also the traditional carnival midway games, munchies, and if you want to make a pit stop, you have a chance to see how fast you can change the tires on a race car. The carnival continues tomorrow night, Saturday, with proceeds going to the Heart Association. That's where we're going to leave it for this evening, Thursday, April 21st.
Until tomorrow, good night, everyone.
Good night.
The Jeep sales event of the year is on now at your Jeep Eagle dealer. Save up to $2,050 on a select Jeep Comanche loaded up with an option discount package. Or you can save up to $1,800 on a select Jeep Cherokee. Plus, get $750 cash back on Jeep Wagoneer, $1,000 on Grand Wagoneer. Also, hurry in and check out the exciting new Eagle Premier. See America's winners now at your Jeep Eagle dealer.
See your Great Northern Jeep Eagle dealers, where you can expect the best.
We asked growers using atrazine on quackgrass why they didn't switch to Roundup herbicide for better control.
It costs too much.
Well, I'll bet it's $18, $19 an acre. Not anymore. The price of Roundup has been cut 3 times in 3 years. Now it's $15 an acre. What do you say to true quackgrass control for $15 an acre?
I say Roundup's worth another look.
Sure. Now the best quackgrass control costs less. See your dealer about Roundup.
International exchange rates have certainly affected the prices of foreign luxury cars. First, the Germans raised their prices. Then the Japanese. Then the Germans again. Higher. Higher. And higher. Now that the dust is settled, one American luxury car stands alone. Cadillac, emerging as the best luxury car value on earth.
How to simplify your spring cleaning. First, empty your closet. Second, come to Juster's spring sale. Going on now.
Ordinary people joining the Minneapolis fight against drugs. That's tomorrow on Newsday.